never listens to you, or this person wants to quit, or this. There could be other underlying issues. We say this. You have your relationship, but behind your relationship, each of us individually, there are layers. So those layers, you're dealing with those layers that may go as far as back as maybe when you are a teenager or when you are 8 years, and you remember them. And so we've both come with issues into this marriage. So we are helping by removing them. And every time that we help, you know the way you get hurt, there's an ouch. And that ouch sometimes makes you feel like, I need to leave. Just the way you can take off from the doctor's office. But sometimes it's good for you to stay so that that thing can be removed because you're learning more about each other.
All right, very good question here. Do gender roles apply in Christian dating, considering the modern world? Swali ngumu. Considering the modern world we're living in, if they do apply, then do they begin at courtship level or during marriage? Kuna mtu anataka kuosha nguo. Anunue machine. Ni story ya pesa. Yeah, it could be that as well. How then should we know that we are ready, role-wise, in preparing for marriage? This was an intelligent person who asked this question. So, do gender roles apply? I would say yes and no. Yes, because you're a man and she's a lady. So, your manly disposition, there's nothing wrong with opening the door for her. There's nothing wrong with you taking responsibility to pay for the coffee or for the dinner. But there's a thin line sometimes. I personally think that you are not a wife yet for the lady, so you do not have a responsibility to iron his clothes and wash his clothes. So do not give wifely duties when you're not yet a wife. To a girlfriend. Do not, because that can be it can create a trap. So for the guy, in fact, what happens for the lady is that the guy does not have any motivation to marry you quickly, because he's already receiving everything that he would receive of a wife. I'm telling you what men think. So if she has moved into your house, if she's intimate with you, if she's cooking for you, if she's washing your clothes, why should you go looking for dowry and pay 100,000 for a venue? You can keep postponing it because there is no motivation. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but I'm just saying the wiser thing to do is do not be a wife before you are a wife. All right? And do not be a husband before. Do not pay someone's rent. Okay? Anataka kuishi kile, sasa uko na pesa, umemlipia kile. Because then even the breakup becomes very difficult. All right? So the roles, you can learn the roles. Yeah, you can learn the roles. We have a default setting of what the roles look like. So as my wife and Pastor Barnabas and Grace are saying, there's a lot of learning to happen. There's a lot of learning to happen within the process of marriage. All right? And unlearning to happen as well. I'm unlearning some things of what a husband truly is and what a wife truly is in terms of roles of marriage. But you can discuss. We discussed those things with my wife, and we read through the book Fit to be Tied, and is that what her expectation of her role is? Is that what she expects of me? And we would have discussions around that. Then you would know, without having become a wife, you would know what this guy expects of me, and you might then say, I don't think we are going in the same direction, and you'd cut it off in good time. Pastor Barnabas?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's a very important question, because we are living in a very times have changed. It's not our father's time, and sometimes we get stuck. In fact, we are called the in-between generation, and another generation is coming where women have become very empowered. So again, men, when they hear the statement provision, you're the provider, that is scaring away many men. Maybe that's why they're not getting married. So please, provision may not necessarily be in terms of shillings and cents, because the women have it. By providing leadership. The other things you provide as a man, it's not money. So often we are so scared about, now I'm not saying that we be lazy and not do something, but, if you fall in love, love doesn't choose. You may fall in love with this very rich lady. This pastor was telling me about this lady who was crying and saying, now I have a car, so do I stop driving and be walking by going by my tattoo so that people love me? Because the guys in the church are scared of me. Please, man, let's rise up. Go for that one. Women just want somebody to love them. Yeah, it just want somebody to love them. But I like what Douglas said. Please, let's not begin to demonstrate gender roles before when you're dating. Yeah, gender inaanza wakati tushaoana. Na pia tukishaoana, the Bible only says two things where gender roles are concerned. Husband, love your wife as Christ has loved the church. Wife, submit to your own husband. That is the rule. He didn't say wives wash dishes, husbands take the trash out. Those ones are not there. And God knew that that times like this will come. God has seen ahead before we have seen it. So he knew times like this will come. So he didn't the Bible has no way it says only women will be cooking and men will be doing this. No. It's just given us a simple thing. Husband, love your wife. Why? Because by loving her, you secure her. Wives, submit to your husband. Because when you respect your husband, that is all he needs. And I know women who earn 10 times more than the woman. The husband's salary is a tithe of the woman's income. Salary yako yote ni tithe yake. But that woman still respects the husband. And that is what we need. So sometimes it's our own insecurities. I like what Grace said. So please also, Ben, we need to deal with our insecurities. If I'm insecure, those things will just expose. Marriage is a way of bringing out our insecurities. So if I've lived and I've insecurity issues, so when she tells me, now you get enough fuel, now you start quarreling. She didn't tell you about the car or anything. She just was warning that now fuel has gone up, please just be careful. That's what she's just trying to say. But because of your insecurity, something is triggered in you. And sometimes maybe those conflicts you're having is because of that. So just remember those two things. Husbands, love your wife. Wives, submit. Now, who will wash dishes? Who will do what? Those ones can change. If my wife is busy and she's in corporate, I mean, back in nyumbani, sinipike. Sidio nipike because they anafanya kazi analeta. Na mimi niko hapa. Why should I still wait for her to come from there and come and cook for me? Because that's a wife's duty. No. Those duties change because now even wives are bringing money. So in that case, why is she bringing money? Sio basi mwambia sitakae nyumbani wewe ndio utafute pesa. But because of the economies and how life is, we need, it's very easy to say that, but wewe mwambie sitakae nyumbani nikatafute pesa. Anakusaidia ataleta pesa. So hata wewe msaidie, chunga mtoto, change diapers, kada mtoto. Fanya kazi ya nyumbani, hata hiyo ni contribution yako to the home. God will choose how he provides. He may choose to provide through Kendi, or he may choose to provide through the husband. God is not limited. You can choose this way or that way. But you know what? It's ours.
I like that. Hey, that one deserves that clap. It is ours. And so there is something that I wanted to mention when you asked that question. When we are dating, let's also avoid, I'm just saying avoid, if possible, avoid starting business together. Because that's one thing that we have seen. You get deep in business, and then you end up not getting married to each other. So when you separate and the business has really grown, what will happen? You become business partners. Tunaenda pole pole. You become business partners. So I'm business partner with Mr. X, my ex. And I'm married to this other guy who is now my as husband. So what happens? Every time that there is a problem here, unajua we only need to reconnect the wires, Hatuna shida, we only need to reconnect the wires. So every time that there is a problem here in my marriage, where will I go to? Co-founder. I go back to the co-founder. Ambia bwana, you guys, how do you people behave? And because he was in love with me once, he's just, baby, don't worry. So that time, see co-founder, babe, don't worry. You know, as guys, we are like this. So I may find myself, in fact, I may just find myself in a place where there is husband, but there is husband number 2. Because this is my office husband, this is my home husband. When things don't work out here, I can have, and not the way ladies, we are very relational. Everything is about relationship. So if this relationship is not working, I have a shoulder to lean on. So let's be very careful when we are courting.
Yeah, sorry, if things are not working at home, you can bring it to the business and start sharing. You know, why I'm seeing you're not giving your best. Then you start sharing your problem with that man. Then he's there and he used to be your ex.
He might even tell you, you know, that's why I was telling you, wow, you see, that's why I was telling you, stick with me. Stick with me, and I'll take you places. I know you. I know you.
I saw this coming.
I saw this coming. Or he may just keep quiet, but give you what you want. Because he already knows you. He knows how to make it tick. So he will give you what you want. So you see what happens? You go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
Hey.
And by the way, it can also affect the business, because now you can bring your domains into the business, and now it starts frustrating the business. Yes. I think we have more questions. Yes.
So this is a question.
What happens when in a relationship, then all of a sudden the characteristics of one party is not the same as what you expected, and you're now already in it? I'm assuming this question is, he has changed or she has changed. Yeah. All right?
You're dating. Are they married?
You're already in it. Well, we'll try and probably answer it in dating and in marriage. In dating, it's easy because you have not said till death do us part. So it's possible for you to get to a place where you feel, no, this is not right, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's actually okay.
Yes.
To realize that I should not continue walking down this path. But in marriage, what happens when he changes? And changes happen. So my wife has changed. Okay? She has become more assertive. She was already assertive. She has become more assertive.
Yes.
All right? But remember, my responsibility, I have to remember what my responsibility to her is to love her. My responsibility is not to change her.
Yeah.
That is God's responsibility. My responsibility is to love her and allow God to work in her life, as is the same. That she would allow God to work in my life, and that we would not short circuit that in our lives. So those things do change. But if there are major changes that happen, example of a major change, or he becomes violent, he becomes an alcoholic or a drug addict, and those are now serious conditions that make staying with your husband difficult. And as Pastor Barnabas says, your life then, when it's in danger, or your children, then you must make a decision that says safeguards your life or your children. You have to do that. Or if they begin to like somebody else, and nowadays you might wake up and find they like another girl or another boy. You know, it's a sad reality, and those things have happened. You wake up and you find your husband is gay. What do you do? Yes. Pastor, we want to continue and answer that question. Have we covered it?
Yes, I think maybe just to add, and there, people who are dating and courting, there's something that is normally very common, but also in marriage. Now, in dating and courting, we say we have taken a break. Maybe you have discovered these things that they're talking about, you've taken a break. Now, what we have discovered is that break should be very specific. How long is the break? What are we trying to discover or unravel in this break? How long is it? What are we doing in this break? And in that case, you need a guided break. Because yesterday I attended a wedding. These guys have dated for 7 years. 7 years. 7 years. And in between there's a time they were thinking of breaking. They went through a breakup. And we guided them in the breakup. And they realized that actually the things that they were raising about with each other were just normal things. They're not things that should make them not continue in the relationship. And you should have seen the wedding yesterday. So it has to be guided. Same thing with separation. When you're separated, has to be guided. Because what happens, you think, you maybe agreed we are taking a break. The other person has taken somebody else, you're wounded. But you see, it was a break. He didn't say it's over. It's a break. So in the separation also, for how long and what is happening in between before we now agree whether to reconcile or go separate ways.
I wanted to add something about changing. It is normal. It is natural. When you begin to date, you're putting your best foot forward. You're wearing your nicest clothes. You're not having a bad hair day. And then after you get to know someone, you begin to relax. You begin to be yourself. You begin to change. So it's not necessarily a red flag. It just means this is the real person. This is who they are. And now you need to make a decision based on who they are. Not that best foot forward person you met. Now on who they are. And in marriage, the same thing. You get married and then now you really know this person. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that now this is who they are. Unless now you discover that the thing that they are is something that is a deal breaker for you, then that's where now you need help and you need to take some certain steps.
Yes. Some time back I took some of my leaders to climb Mount Longonot. And some lady came back to me and told me, they were dating. And they said, what I have seen. So the person is not this person you see in church. This person is holy, lifts up holy hands, loves the Lord with all their heart. You take them to Mount Longonot where it is hot, they are tired, they are fatigued, they start cussing. Now that is the real person. That is the real person. Yeah, so don't just date in cozy places. I'm a scientist, so we say a controlled environment. This is a controlled environment. Take them to the real environment because marriage is a real environment. If you've been married,
do life on my own. I can do when they're speaking to people, when they're talking about it, they want to give off the attitude that I'm okay. I don't need this. In fact, I don't want this. I'm not interested. I'm very okay by myself. But that's the wrong thing to do because you're fungaing yourself with your own words. The truth is you want this. You're not desperate. No, you're not doing the wrong thing by desiring that desire for a mate. It's God who has given it to you. You're not doing the wrong thing. Yes, you're not desperate. Yes, you're not flagging down the next man you find. But the truth is you desire. And it is a good thing. It is not a bad thing to want to get married. And God will fulfill the desires of your heart. But don't use your mouth to shut off. Even the men who are around you are hearing you say, I'm not interested. I'm good all by myself. Don't do that.
Yeah, it just came to my mind, the challenge of leading on. And I don't know which gender has this challenge more than the other. But we have to be careful as singles on how we relate with the opposite sex. When a lady is very nice to you, it doesn't mean she's fallen in love with you. She smiles at you. Or a gentleman carries your bag for you, he has not yet proposed. So the question of leading on is just that as men, we have a responsibility not to communicate what we didn't intend to communicate. All right. So yes, we should be pleasant people. We should be helpful people, but try and draw the markers and the lines that will not. Remember, Pastor Barnabas said communication is what the other person hears, not what you're saying. So make sure that they hear you right, both in your words and in your actions. And as soon as you feel that somebody, maybe that you don't feel is the one you should walk this path of life with, and they are coming on to you, they're responding to what maybe you have not sent as a message, then make sure you don't respond in like manner. You know, when I was in university, I shared this story with my wife. There's a lady who kind of liked me. Yes. And she began to bring cake to my room. She'd bring me cake from home, and I thought, no, I cannot entertain this, because I'll be sending the message that I'm really receiving your cake, I like you. Yes. And then one day I'll tell her, I really don't like you. I'm not done like that. Yeah. So my responsibility was to make sure that my friend told me run. But was to communicate, was not to receive those gifts. So I would not be available to receive those gifts. And with time, she realized there was not a great joy and appreciation with those things. So it communicated. So for a lady as well, make sure you're not communicating that I really like you when you don't. Does that make sense? So that question of being led on, there are many people who've been heartbroken by people who didn't think they were heartbreaking. Yes. So don't lead on the gentlemen, and don't lead on the young girls.
Yeah, the person was good to you, parting shot. The person was good to you, and then one day you hear the wedding bands being announced here, and they're getting married to not you, but somebody else. And that breaks your heart, and people have even left church because of that. So it's very, very important. Please, as you, even sending gifts, you have to be very careful. What kind of gifts are you sending? What are you communicating by your actions? I like that. What are you communicating so that you're not communicating other things? And this our culture, we are sometimes very, we are not open and transparent. So yesterday we were having some Zoom session with the two people are in one on the other side, and Grace and I on this side. And so that guy, because they were using his laptop, he came closer to the lady and he said, "Is this okay with us? Is this okay?" You see, I like that because, we're just there, but one is suffering, is thinking, "Hey, you're too close," but you're not saying. But I like the fact that he asked, "Is this okay?" And then the lady said, "Yeah, it's fine." So so it's sometimes just good to say, "Is it okay?" Or I don't feel comfortable with that. You see, so you're communicating, because you can be sending the wrong signals, receiving the wrong signals, and that's where heartbreaks come in. Yeah. I thought he loved me, but he was just a nice person. He was just a nice person. He used to go and pick you up. You broke your leg. The true story, he will pick you up from up there. Your apartment, he was the 5th floor, so this guy will go and pick her, bring her down, give her lift to our place of work, because he was their cell leader, and he was caring for his cell members. Then he fell in love with a girl in the same cell, and that broke the cell. Because the two girls say, "Oh, even used to come, he used to carry me," but he was just being nice. But the lady interpreted it differently, and the man also did not clarify why he was doing what he was doing. I hope this has been wonderful. Have we learned something? Can we do this again? Wow. I want to believe that you've picked something, you've learned something, and this is going to help you. Relationships are good, but they can also be very painful. Can be very painful. And so let's avoid those pains. And I think, as Grace shared with us last week, we are hurt in relationships, but we also healed in relationships. And Grace and I are testimony. She was hurt in a relationship, but she was also healed in this relationship. Hallelujah. You missed a good place to say amen. So if in case you have more questions that we are very personal, maybe you feel we didn't answer it adequately, we will be hanging around tea, having fellowship there. You can ask us. But I want to encourage us to go ahead and give. It's a time of giving. I will allow us to maybe go back to our seats. Thank you so much, Douglas and Charlie. You guys are just fantastic. You have the very best here with us.